Paymon who?
Mata Heyday.
Paymon Lata Heyday. Who is he?
Never paid taxes in 30 years. Fought the U.S. tax court and won.
See, I believe our rights come from God, not from government. Why you should not file a 1040 income tax confession form by April 15th or May 1st of 2025. In this presentation, you'll see why for yourself. I am Paymon Mutahede, the president of Freedom Law School, which I created in 1996. I know, like most Americans, you believe that filing a 1040 form with the IRS is a safe way to avoid IRS audits and keep yourself out of prison with the IRS. If that is what you think, guess what? You need to think again. That is right. Why? Because you unwittingly increase your chances of going to prison for taxes when you sign under penalties of perjury that your 1040 form that you signed is true, correct, and complete. The fact of the matter is that the safest way to have the IRS leave you alone is to not file any 1040 income tax confession forms. And say, Paymon, what do you mean by confession forms? Because it is a self-confession that they trick you into doing against yourself. Okay, here it is. Let's see it for yourself. When you sign an IRS Form 1040 income tax confession form, you state under oath that you owe the IRS money. Here it is. Don't believe me? This is the signature part of the 1040 form. This is signed here in big print. But what's all this tiny little language here? You can barely read it, huh? What is that? Have you ever read it? Did TurboTax, HRM Block, your accountant, CPA, tax attorney tell you what all this stuff means here? Oh, I bet you didn't tell you that, did he? He never asked me that. What am I really signing here? Let's put a magnifying glass and see the shocking truth for yourself. You're signing this form, right, under penalties of perjury. And he's saying, well, what's penalties of perjury? I never heard that term before. I'll tell you what that means. It means basically, throw me in prison if everything on this form is not true, correct, and complete. Oh, yeah. The form that accountant, tax attorney, CPA, TurboTax, or HRM Block filled out for you, but when it's time to go and get audited, you get audited, not them. Time to prison time, you go to prison, not that expert who you paid actually to get your trouble like this, potentially with the IRS, okay? So let me show you something else you didn't know about. When you file a 1040 income tax form or any federal tax form, you give up the right up to your most private and sensitive financial information to the IRS. The IRS can then use these documents as evidence against you in a court of law, which can then force you to prove all expenses, deductions, and credits that you claimed on your tax form. If you cannot prove such expenses, deductions, and credits, you will end up paying a lot more money to the IRS or even more, be sentenced to lengthy prison terms. That's right. You see, you also risk being charged with 3 separate tax crimes for each 1040 form that you file. Here it is. Attempting to evade or defeat a tax. Tax evasion, 5 years. That's right. Filing a fraudulent and false statements, 3 years in prison. Filing fraudulent returns, statements, or other documents, 1 year in prison. So you risk going to prison, okay, for up to 9 years for each year that you file a 1040 or any other tax form. Wow! I bet you didn't realize that when you signed that form, that is what you're doing to yourself. But listen, your accountant, CPA, tax attorney is making money off of you and pretend to be, I'm the expert. Listen to me. I keep you out of trouble with the IRS and Trouble New Code. I went to accounting school. I went to law school. Listen to me, and I'll keep you out of trouble with all this gobbledygook of the Internal Revenue Code, the Bible of the IRS, right here. He doesn't understand. He's ignorant. Okay? Don't listen to your accountant, CPA, or tax attorney. He doesn't know the law, and I'll show you in just a minute. And this is just a start how he gets you in trouble by charging you money that you should not pay him in the first place. If you're a crypto person, it's even worse because now they have this digital asset question that they want to know if you have any crypto sales of any kind in the year. If you say yes to the crypto question, you put yourself on the IRS audit list. That's right. The IRS is hammering crypto tax return filers with audits because the IRS knows how expensive and difficult figuring out the cost basis of your crypto sales is. Yep. So if you say no, oh, guess what? You'll just lied under oath. Penalty of perjury, like I showed you, which could land you in tax prison for 3 separate tax crimes you seen above, including tax evasion, for up to 9 years for every 1040 form on which you lied about not having sold any cryptocurrency. So, getting mad? You should be. Yes, but there is more about 1040 forms you need to understand, okay? This woman here, this is former U.S. Tax Court Judge Diane Krupa, okay? When the IRS came after Judge Krupa for taxes, she was looking at going to prison for about 20 years. Now, there's only 31 U.S. tax court judges in America. They are the foremost authority in tax law. But guess what? You think she tried to defend herself? My tax return is fine. I'm a tax court judge. God of taxes. I did my tax return right. Oh, no. She did not do that. Instead of trying to put up a defense and go to trial, she pled guilty to reduce her sentence to only 34 months because 1040 forms are nearly impossible to defend. They can always find some little thing you got wrong and say you were trying to cheat and not pay a fair share of taxes. And you say, oh, my accountant, CPA, tax attorney, he did it. They say, look, the law puts you, that's right, you, at risk of going to prison. You are responsible, not that professional tax person that you hired. Okay? So this guy is a former IRS gun-carrying special agent, Joseph Bannister. He became my student in 1999. I wrote a book about IRS's deception, okay? And then here's what he told me way back when he quit there. He says, Paymon, whenever at the IRS's criminal investigation division, we wanted to go after somebody. One of the first things that we did as a standard procedure was to request a copy of that person's previously filed tax returns so that we could use the information on those tax returns against them. They use it against you, what you put on the 1040 form. However, when I wanted to talk to somebody about investigating him, I had to tell him that he had the right to remain silent and give me no information. Whoa, why? Because they use it all against you. You signing under oath makes it worse, doesn't it? Yeah. So now something else I want you guys to see is people say, but Paymon, I want to go to prison. That's why I file tax returns. Because I've heard that no matter what, the television, accountant, CPA, tax attorney, experts say, file a tax return. Otherwise you'll be a martyr. Ours will get you, put you in prison. Lie. You've been lied to once again. The opposite is true. Look at this information. Okay, this is from IRS's own data book showing that over 93% of the people that the IRS puts in prison are actually filers. That is right. Look at this thing, okay? This is on the top, combined results of everybody they put in prison. At the bottom is non-filers. I took this information, which was different pages of the book, put them together from you, one at top, up, and one at bottom. The top is everybody they put in prison. The bottom is only non-filers. Okay, look at the top right, 2015 year, to top left, 2021. The whole year by year numbers are there. Look at the highlighted below that sentenced and circled areas. In 2015, over 3,000 people were sentenced by the IRS to prison. Now look at the bottom part, non-filers with only 167. So about 2,900 people were all filers that went to prison. Look at on the mid-center, year 2018, they put 2,111 people in tax prison. But look at the bottom, only 104 were non-filers. Over 2,000 were all filers that put in prison, the vast majority. Look at the last one, 2021. 1,268 people that put in tax prison. At the bottom, only 88 of them were non-filers. Again, over 1,100, vast majority, were all filers. So it is the filers that go to prison because you put the rope around your neck and give it to the IRS. Literally, that is what they do to you. So this cartoon is the truth. Do not sign that 1040 form. No matter what your so-called expert, accountant, CPA, or tax attorney tells you, don't do that. You give it a power to the IRS to hurt you. Stop doing the thing that gives the IRS the power to hurt you, my friends, okay? So the bottom line summary is that you are deceived by your accountant attorney to sign a 1040 form and put the noose around your neck. The key thing is, when you sign a form, you are confessing that you owe the IRS money. In fact, let me show that to you one more thing about this thing. The 1040 form, I forgot to show you guys. When you sign a form, oh, look at this. On line 37, you say how much you owe the IRS. That's right. You say on the 1040 from under oath, this is the amount you owe. That's right. You tell the IRS that you owe them this amount. They didn't come after you at all. You did it to yourself, telling the IRS you owe them all of this money. Now that you understand what's going on about this, I'm going to get you to the law in just a minute. But bottom line is that this is how you give the IRS the power to audit you without a tax return. There's nothing to audit. As a non-filer, there's nothing there to audit. To empty your bank account, steal your crypto, steal your property, and put you in prison. All have been facilitated by tricking you, deceiving you to sign that 1040 form as a safe thing to do to not get in trouble with a big bad IRS. Okay? Now let's look at the law. They want you to believe there's a law that requires you to declare yourself to be a slave of the IRS. No, there is no law requiring you to do so. Okay, I have not filed an income tax for over 30 years and teaching Americans in over 30 years to do the same legally and safely. And keep watching because you will be able to do the same thing and be free again. Okay, so here we go. Let's go to the law. It's the most exciting part that you see on our website. Step 1, follow the law. Here's a 1040 U.S. individual income tax return. The key term is U.S. Who is this U.S.? What is this U.S. to know who is the individual, the U.S. individual? We're going to find out in just a minute. That's a trick, okay? They're done on you. The 1040 form instructions, okay, on page 8 tells us the truth about filing requirements. It says these rules apply to all U.S. citizens, regardless of where they live, and resident aliens. Okay, is that the case? Well, again, what does U.S. mean? See what U.S. citizens mean. They don't tell you here. You have to look at the law to find out. Well, here's U.S. Treasury Regulations of Title 26, Code of Federal Regulations 1.1-1, okay? A, general rule. Section 1 of the code. What are they talking about? Here, the Internal Revenue Code. This is the Bible of the IRS. These are the laws that the IRS supposedly is following and enforcing. Over 10,000 pages of godly book, tissue thin, tiny font, and they hid the definitions in the back. So you don't go that far and look to see it doesn't apply to you in the first place. Deception works for them. Knowledge works for you to be free. So here it is, Section 1 of the Internal Revenue Code imposes an income tax on the income of every individual who is a citizen or resident of the United States. Okay, let's stop right there because that's the key part is right here. Citizen or resident of the United States. Now, I know you're thinking, that's me. I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm a United States citizen. They're talking about me, right? Wrong. Let's go a little bit deeper on this issue, okay? We're going to go down these regulations. It's going to make it much more clear about what I'm talking about for you. So here we go down to B, okay? And what does it say, B? Okay. In general, all citizens of the United States, wherever resident, okay, and all resident alien individuals are liable to income tax laws imposed by the code, okay? All right, I agree with that. They are right. And look at C. Who is a citizen? Every person born or naturalized in the United States and subject to its jurisdiction is a citizen. Now we're starting to get there. It's singular jurisdiction. That's right. What most Americans do not know is that America is not one country. There are actually 50 countries, 50 states in a union. Just like Germany, France, Italy are part of the European Union. They have a union there. We have America Union here. That's what the president gives a State of the Union address every year, not the State of the Country address here, okay? The federal government here has only a few powers delegated by the states to it, and same thing in the European Union. Germany, France, Italy are countries, so is California, Texas, Florida, they're all countries. That its singular jurisdiction is the federal government of Washington, D.C. They're a god there. In D.C., they can do what they want. The District of Columbia was created to give the federal government safety from states' powers when it was created back in the late 1700s. They can do whatever they want in those lands, and they're not even states. So let's continue to the law itself from Title 26, which you just saw, the Internal Revenue Code at uscode.house.gov. This is the official website of House of Representatives, who publishes a law for the American people. Chapter 79, definitions. Look at this. Section 7701, when used in this title, they have all these definitions. What title? Again, folks, the Internal Revenue Code, Title 26, the Bible of the IRS, online, what they are right now. I'm showing you right now as we speak. So they define many things that do not even need defining. person, corporation, domestic. But look at 9 and 10, United States and state. They have their own unique definition. United States, when used in a geographical sense, includes only the states and the District of Columbia. We say, oh, how about states? Oh, well, guess what? The term state shall be construed to include the District of Columbia, which is not even a state. How could it include D.C. as a state, but it's not a state, it's a district? Guess what? Congress can define things any way they want to. They chose to only list D.C. because by Constitution, they cannot tax the people of the 50 states like you. So that's all you see in there, D.C. So here we have, so United States means only D.C. plus D.C. You get, again, the District of Columbia. That's right. So 1044 is a District of Columbia individual income tax, not the 50 states individual. Okay, for nationality purposes, you and me are all state citizens. I'm a Florida state citizen, U.S. citizen, and U.S. national. But for tax purposes, we are not U.S. citizens. Okay, okay. So because only D.C. citizens by tax law are citizens of the United States as defined. Okay, so now the Supreme Court, of course, agrees on this stuff. Okay, you assume that's all made up by me. No, it's not. This is actually a law by the U.S. Supreme Court recognized. Here, I'm going to show you this thing. Okay, look at this thing. This is Gould versus Gould, U.S. Supreme Court decision, tax decision. Okay, and here's what it says: in their interpretation or understanding of laws, statutes, levying or imposing taxes, it is established rule not to extend the provisions of tax laws by implication or implying beyond the clear import of the language used, or to enlarge the operations of the tax laws, so as to embrace or include matters not specifically pointed out. Something that is not specifically pointed out is simply not there. The 50 states are not listed there in a definition of United States, therefore it's not there. It's only United States is D.C. right here. That's right. It's only D.C. here, not the 50 states. None of them are there. Okay? And most importantly, everybody, the Supreme Court tells us this. In case you have any doubt about any of this stuff, they, the tax laws, are construed most strongly against the government and in favor of citizens not being taxed. That's right. Any doubt you have, it's against the government. You are not taxed. You are free. So put any doubt out of your mind that about this definition of the United States does not include at all any of the 50 states because it's simply not there as a state or United States by definition. I'm going to give you one example also, by the way, to see how they do talk about and list the 50 states when they can constitutionally tax something like oil taxes. Here it is, again from Title 26, Internal Revenue Code, okay? Subchapter A, Tax on Petroleum, okay? Here we are, okay? For the purposes of this subchapter is Subchapter A, Tax on Petroleum. Here we go. You find many terms, including the term United States. Oh, look at that. United States means the 50 states. Whoa, there it is. They specifically list the 50 states. They didn't forget about 50 states in the other section you saw. They knew about it, okay? They know when they can't tax something like oil everywhere, and your income, they cannot tax. They never tried to do so, okay? And look, it includes also the District of Columbia and a bunch of U.S. territories specifically mentioned, and even continental shelf areas, and even foreign trade zones are included. So there's no doubt, people, you can see for yourself, you were deceived into filing income tax all these years when you don't have to do so, okay? You got to stop filing and paying income tax confession forms for yourself, okay? Now, something else I'm going to show you about all this is you should write your lawmakers, congressmen who write the tax laws. Congress wrote this, not the IRS. Let's see what the Congress has said about this issue. Because what we've done, we've written congressmen about this issue many, many times. You don't have to pay tribute to the beast. It's really slavery if you simply do as I show you, question authority and write your Congress members, okay? File pay income taxes only if your congressman can show you the law that requires you to file pay income taxes. That's how you stop being a slave. Very simple, okay? And when you do this, you'll be free. You are protected from imprisonment with our petitions that I will show you. And guess what? These legal petitions we've written based on the law as published on government's official legal websites. No federal lawmaker has ever refuted our legal petitions or shown us that we were wrong. Or shown us that people in 50 states are required to file income taxes, okay? And this is a proper legal way by petitioning U.S. Congress to stop the renegade government insiders from imposing the various federal income taxes that you and I never owed in the first place, okay? So here it is. Individual income taxes we have, employment taxes petition, as well as self-employment taxes and 1099 forms, okay? Individual income tax, one, I'm going to talk about this a little bit as an example. Show you, here it is. These are for free. You should do them. No charge. I make nothing of it. And it's your right, it's your duty to write your lawmakers and have them stop the IRS, their bulldog, from hurting and ripping off the American people like you. Okay? So just fill in the name of these congressmen, okay, and report them about investigating all this stuff. We ask him to investigate all this stuff, right? And after the introduction here, in his petitions, we go right into a law, explain the income tax law, decipher. Okay? And at the end of the letter, we tell them, lawmakers, I believe every person should pay their fair share of income taxes according to the law, right? And then we further state that this letter is my self-determination of my income tax liability, right? And then we continue by saying that I am not liable to pay any federal income tax. Very simple, right? We're upfront about it all. And then after thanking the congressman, we tell the congressman this. If by reading this letter, with officially published in Total Roman Code and Code of Federal Regulations sections, Supreme Court cases, and the U.S. Constitution, quote attached, you can show me that I've somehow misinterpreted these statutes, regulations, or U.S. Supreme Court decisions, and that I do owe federal income taxes, I will gladly pay all taxes due and will consider such payment to be my fair share. Look, I'll pay my fair share of taxes. Show me these petitions, which are legally sound, based on U.S. government's official legal websites only if they are wrong. Okay? And we ask the congressman to stop these government renegades from ripping off the American people. Talk to other congressmen to stop this thing, and we're looking forward for the reply, which they can never on point respond to us. This is your ticket to freedom, these petitions, because you make a record when you mail them out by certified mail to your congressman. Keep a copy for yourself that you asked. You want to be sure you're following the law correctly and paying every tax that you legally may owe to the federal government, because you don't. And this double verifies it for everybody in the whole world to know, okay? So the laws, as you can see here, are attached right here. The back of the letter, all these laws are quoted and attached, and they all are here, physically attached. You see it right here. This is Gould versus Gould I just showed you, is right there. So this is the greatest thing you can do for yourself and your family for free. And something else. People say, but Paymon, IRS is going to come after me. If I don't file, they'll come after me. I know they will, right? You know, what if they do come after me? let me tell you, they're leaving non-filers alone. That's a fact, okay? You got to realize IRS is really bluff. They deceive you to file. I don't have time to get into this, but there's about 80 million non-filers in America according to their own numbers, best estimates. So this is the reality of what the IRS is. It's a big Wizard of Oz scaring you, the Dorothy, and her friends by the hoopla of the corrupt major media and your accountant and your CPA and your tax attorney who got you scared into, whoa, I better file, be a good slave. I don't want to be a slave, but it's a safe thing to do. Just like getting the jab. Your doctor tells you, get the corona jab to not die of corona. Listen to me. I'm the health expert, the doctor. And the CPA accountant attorney tells you, I'm the attorney, CPA accountant. I went to school, learn about taxes. Listen to me and file your 1040 form and pay me. I make money just like the doctor hospitals make money when you get the jab. They make money. They're scamming you and making money on you by deceiving you. It's a win-win game for them and a loss for you. The only way you can stop that is to stop this game. Stop filing those 1040 confession forms. And look, you can take courage from our victories. As I said, for over 30 years, I've not filed paid income taxes. Never been to tax prison. Never. Or doesn't dare to indict me even for taxes because they know I'll win and that'd be a terrible publicity for them when I beat them in court. So they leave me alone, even though I've been under criminal investigation continuously for over 30 years. That's right. I'm free as a bird. I'm proof. Why, if you don't file, you will be left alone if you do your homework, okay? Like I've done. And none of my students who come to me clean and stay with me has ever gone to tax prison for federal taxes, nor had their paycheck bank account levied or home or business seized by the IRS. So this cartoon, folks, is the truth. The lizard of the IRS is powerful by you when you saw that 1040 forms. Now, some of you have the spirit of America's founding fathers in you like them. If you are like these people, okay, like I am, I like to think, and willing to stand up for freedom, you could have, as a privilege, the option of being safe. 100% guaranteed from any and all IRS attacks, because we use the same thing they did. They got together against the corrupt King of England, right? Fought for freedom. They risked their lives, their fortune, their sacred honor, lost limb, legs, eyes, everything. You have to risk nothing. Just a little bit of your financial help and commitment. It's all necessary for you to be free and restore freedom, because the founding fathers gave us the tools to be free. Okay, so the Restore Freedom Plan is based upon the model of the founding fathers, and you'll be 100% guaranteed safe from the IRS. No prison time. IRS will not take any of your money. You don't have to do this. It's optional. But what I'd like you all to do, no matter what, is to love and spread the truth about what you just got exposed. Yes. Tell your spouse, children, parents, siblings, co-workers, neighbors, okay, anybody you know, arm them with the truth and the law. Let's restore America, our families, by speaking up and sharing with them, even though they might look at you weird, like, oh, here we go again, conspiracy theorists, running away from this guy. Love them anyways. I mean it, love them anyways. Give them our brochures. We send you for free, Restore Freedom brochure, okay? Teaching them that no law requires 99% of Americans to file and pay federal income or payroll taxes. By the way, you can stop income tax withholding from your paycheck for free? Yes. If you go to our website, I'll show you, okay? Go there on top on the right, okay? The tab right comes up on the bottom. Free yourself from tax withholding is the third item there. Click on that, just like I'm doing. Whoa! I got exact form instructions and video on how to stop income tax withholding, so you don't have to file a 1040 form to get a little bit of that money the employer stole from you and give the IRS to get it back. Stop it. Stop the stealing by going to our website, freedomlawschool.org. Follow the instructions there correctly and fully, and you'll be free. So, brothers and sisters, I just gave you the truth. But you probably need more time to verify everything. A little bit more. Listen to it 2, 3, 4 times. Go to our website. Go to 7 steps on our website, freedomlawschool.org, to free yourself of virus deception, fear, robbery, and slavery. So go there, click on the 7 steps banner right there on our front page, okay? When you do that, okay, and study these videos as you drive around to work, shopping, errands, listen to videos that, while you watch the road, and then when you go to office, at lunch, dinner at home, then play the video again on your smartphone and see, well, everything's the truth. So you can be free. Okay? I love you and I want you to be free. I believe in a love and let love and live and let live world. But guess what? I cannot do that for you. You must choose to do it for you and your family and your loved ones. So the trick is simple. Just go educate yourself. Share it with everybody else. Love it. And hopefully we'll have America be a free country once again. You fight inflation, all the cost of food's going up, everything. Guess what? You can now afford to live a better life. You can pay off your debts, have some savings, a little cushion, or your finances, the pressures on you taken off. By not paying income taxes, you never legally owed, and share with others, and we'll pay you. That's right. Someone joins our Restore Freedom Plan, we pay you half of their first year membership. Yeah, could be 1,000 minimum, could be 100,000 or more, depending on their membership size, so that you can live a better life while we work together, like America's founding fathers, that America be free, prosperous, and great country once again.